The theory of relativity is inadequate. Using a very detailed simulation of the Michelson-Morley experiment, I found that there are other compensations needed to compensate the Michelson-Morley experiment for translation. Well, now what kind of compensation am I talking about? Well, you have length contraction and time dilation. Those are compensations. Okay, I found 5 other compensations in total. No, sorry, I found that 5 compensations are required in total, and there are 3 others implied in order to compensate the Michelson-Morley experiment properly. Now, what I call these compensations, I call them transvariances. Okay, these are the things that change as things translate. So they're variations due to translation. These things were in the past called covariances or invariances, depending on your perspective. I just changed it to transvariances. Now, the beauty of these new transvariances is that they are very simple. Okay, they can be demonstrated with something as simple as a ping pong ball. Okay, and because they're very simple, I think that's the reason why they were missed. And the other beauty of these transvariances is that they can be explained in terms of simple mechanics. Okay, you see, in the past, let's call this orb containing the Starship Enterprise, let's call this the sum total of the knowledge of simple mechanics, Newtonian mechanics, simple mechanics. And then when Michelson-Morley came about, they found, oh gee, this doesn't really agree well with what we observe. And so they invented, Einstein came up with a special relativity, which is looked upon as a correction to Newtonian mechanics. Okay, in order to compensate Newtonian mechanics for what is actually observed. Okay, and what I'm going to show you is that's where the mistake was made. It says we didn't really have the right mechanics here. The real correction goes here. And if we observe the simple little transvariances that go on through that are explainable in terms of Newtonian mechanics, we don't need to apply relativity externally. Length contraction, time dilation, and the 5 other transvariances that I come across can be explained in simple, so simple. It's so simple, physicists will have no problem understanding it. Believe me, their problem is going to come from the fact that it was so simple, so in plain sight, right in front of them, that they're going to reject it and say, "Oh no, that can't possibly be true," because it's going to put them out of work, essentially. Okay. And so, why is all this important? Well, I can't read with these glasses on. I don't know. Because now that we know the mechanism of these transvariances, time dilation, length contraction, now because we know what they are and how they manifest, and that they are just simple manifestations of simple mechanics, we can now work around them, such that a faster-than-light starship will be a reality, can be a reality. Okay, in fact, I am here right now with the little work I've done and saying that 1,000 times the speed of light is going to be low gear. Okay, and I'm not joking around. Okay, and why is this important to you? Well, in the trailer T1 video, I basically say that unless we break the light barrier, but we have to break the light barrier by at least a factor of 500, or the human race is dead. Okay, anything that we could possibly do other than that is just a delaying action to the inevitable extinction of the human race. Okay, watch the T1 video. In the T3 video, I'll put the links at the end of this video so you can cue in on them. In the T3 video, I do a simple calculation that shows that the human population overpopulates the Earth by a factor of at least 10. And the only way that we're able to sustain these population levels is due to the gifts of oil. You know, the pesticides, the fertilizer, the packaging, the fuel, transportation, antibiotics. That's the only way we can maintain all that food without spoilage and waste and vermin eating it all. Without that, there is not enough surface area right now on the surface of the area to produce the food needed to feed the population of the Earth. Without that leverage we get from oil, that leverage we get from oil is a factor of 10 at least. Okay, we need and now there's a temporary solution. The planet Titan or Europa, I forget which one it is. One of those is an incomplete surface is full of cetanes, which are oil and natural gas and all that stuff. Okay, now this paper, to put this all in perspective, this is the introductory video for the first paper of the Ethereal Mechanics series. The first paper is called Ethereal Mechanics Transvariance. Now, I've had Ethereal Mechanics out on my website, on my YouTube site for a number of years now. The problem has been, it's been a whole collection of little things that never really fit together too well before. There were little things wasn't really sure yet, but the pieces are falling together. They're falling together fast. This first paper of Transvariance is going to be the opening paper of the formal set of series of paper on Ethereal Mechanics. Okay, the paper right now is available to Patreon members, available to Patreon first class members. On December 25th, the Ethereal Mechanics Transvariance paper will be made available to the public, along with the simulation software that goes along with it. This is the opening video, and the remaining videos, what we're going to do now is this video series on Transvariance. This introductory video is put out there as an introduction to everybody of what's going on. The remaining videos in the Transvariance series are going to be for Patreon first class, Patreon passengers and above. And in there's going to be information that is not released in the paper. For example, there's going to be simple experiments using ping pong balls to show you the beautiful transvariances that are right in front of plain sight that we took for granted we didn't see. And I think that's the other reason why we went off on this crazy relativity vault, is because we did not know that the answers are right in front of our face. And in fact, that is what Arthur C. Clarke in the book 2001 said in the beginning. You know, with the monkeys? The monkeys were the effigy of the human race on the verge of starvation without realizing that food was all around them. Okay? The answers to the universe are not strange models and theories that are incomprehensible. The answers are all around us, simple, in plain sight. The problem is we just didn't notice them because they were everyday things. Okay? So please support this because unless we break the light barrier, the human race is dead. Okay, so you can support this by either sharing this video and the paper when it comes out, giving me thumbs up, likes, but best of all, become a Patreon member. Patreon, there's different levels of access to Patreon members. And if you're still skeptical, then check out the paper that comes out on the 25th. If you can't tell me that that's the most simplest explanation of all these strange things like time dilation and length contraction that you've ever seen, well, then let's go our separate ways. Let's leave it at that. I'm trying to do something to give the human race a future. And if you want to support me, you can. We have a support level at the Patreon site where you just put a couple of dollars a month to support this effort. And there's certain things you'll get for that. If you just want to support, it's a couple of dollars a month to help this. It's an investment in your future. Thank you very much, and I hope the Patreon members enjoy the next in the series for Transvariance. We're going to show some very, very simple things that are just blow you away. Anyway, thank you very much. Take care.